Welcome to the 2021 On-Farm Network Results Series. I'm Megan Burns, agronomist for the On-Farm Network program. New in 2021, we started to investigate pea inoculant practices in on-farm trials. So pea inoculant practices are a little bit less well-refined than those that we have for soybeans in Manitoba. So we wanted to kind of dive in and investigate some inoculant questions that pea producers had. We set out to quantify the effect of different inoculant practices on yield, on nodulation, and then we have seed quality analysis underway this year as well. So this is what the trials looked like this season. So we had just two, and they were both in Western Manitoba. The first trial was a pretty traditional double versus single inoculant trial looking at liquid on seed versus liquid on seed plus granular in furrow. And then the second trial was comparing two different rates of granular and furrow inoculant. So kind of a 1 times and 2 times rate. So that's what the treatments look like for these two trials. Obviously, nodulation ratings are an important part of these trials. So we want to look at nodulation to see whether the two strategies that we're comparing are going to give us a different result in terms of nodulation. So for pea nodulation ratings, we look at the plant growth and vigor. So how does the above ground biomass look? We do a count of how many nodule clusters and are on the roots and what color those take on, which is important to indicate their activity. And then we look at nodule position as well, whether it's mostly crown or mostly lateral or some combination of the two. For now, we're going to focus mostly on nodule number. So you'll see that reported in the tables of results that we're going to get into right now. So starting with the double versus single inoculant trial, this is the one that was further west. We found nodulation to be very similar between the two treatments, and this is considered agronomically sufficient. So we have enough nodules to meet the nitrogen needs, or we should have enough nodules anyways, to meet the nitrogen needs of our peas. Now at this trial, we had some interesting differences occur in growth across the trial, and we could see it when we were there doing our nodulation ratings, and it's really well captured in this NDVI image. And when it comes to something like this, we have to take a look at yield across replicates. So this is a situation where we look at our individual yield in strips across our replicates to determine if this data is usable. So what we're doing here is we're investigating whether, there's a lot of variability within replicates or whether most of the variability in yield is across replicates. And that seems to be the case here. So a lot of the variability is between the reps and less so between the strips within the reps. So we decided to keep this data and go forward with analyzing this trial. It's really important to note that yield by rep like this, looking at individual strip yield, is only useful in a case like this where we have to determine the sort of utility of the data. This is not the way to get at your treatment outcomes or determine what treatment was improving yield compared to the other or anything like that. In order to do that, we need to look at our statistics and our averages of the treatment effects across the whole trial area. So just keep that in mind, that looking at yield by rep can be a useful tool in situations like this, especially, but that is not how we get at our overall treatment effects. To do that, we need to look at our average yield differences and run our statistics. And when we did that here, it came out as no significant yield difference between double and single inoculated field peas. And as a result, we have an associated loss in profit per acre that's equivalent to the increased cost of that double inoculant practice. So that in-furrow granular inoculant that we applied, that increased management cost or input cost wasn't providing any return on investment at this trial in this growing season. So at our second trial that was comparing inoculant rates, so the 1 times and 2 times rate, we had again very similar nodulation here, and it was agronomically sufficient between the treatments. And we saw no significant yield difference between the 1 and 2 times rates. And so again, we have that associated loss in profit per acre because we're not seeing a return on that increased input cost. So in terms of what's next for pea inoculant trials, well, this is just the beginning. This is a data set that we're looking forward to growing and asking different inoculant questions based on what farmers are interested in to see what we can learn about best practices in this department. So if you're interested in pea inoculant trials, certainly let us know. We would love to work with you. A big thank you to all of our On-Farm Network participants. If you're interested in learning more, getting involved, or if you have a trial idea, please contact us at any time. Thank you.